All right, what's good? Let's get it. I want to talk about politicians and the problems we're seeing today with people like Biden outright lying to the American public, press secretaries lying, dismissing everything, gaslighting the public, and the trying and it it wouldn't be a big deal if it wasn't the United States government, right? Or the government, a government at all. When you're blatantly lying to people, it, you blatantly go on TV, right? And you lie to people, or stretch the truth, or whatever. That's messed up. And it's a little more than messed up, right? Because I'm talking a little bit about faith and blind faith, but these are the people we're supposed to trust and put faith in that they're running the country the right way and for our country's best interest. But slowly but surely, people are realizing that's not the case, right? COVID was a big one. Even like now with the vaccine, mRNA vaccine, saying that they actually don't stop you from getting COVID or something along those lines. I forget exactly what they said, but then they're saying we never said that, blah blah blah. But then you can have a quote from these CEOs and Biden and all that saying that getting the COVID vaccine will stop the transmission of COVID. Even though that, I think it was Pfizer or something, outright didn't test to see if that was true, but said it. And what are the consequences, right? Well, obviously there's not going to be any financial consequences, but any faith or loyalty or trust that the American people had in these companies and the government is gone. When you think of Pfizer, when you think of Johnson Johnson, when you think of Moderna, yeah, their reputation is shit now. So I want to talk about selling your soul, right? Because people have a misconception a little bit about what selling your soul means. They think it's you sell your soul to the devil, right? And you can get to that point, but people think it's like a ritual or blah blah blah, Hollywood shit, blah blah blah. But essentially, what selling your soul means is that you're going against your inner will, your inner beliefs, what you know is right, what you know you want to do, right? And this could be a bunch of different things. This could be taking a job that you think is immoral, but you think, so let's go with the press secretary. They go on that stage, whatever, how many times, and they know what they're saying in some cases are lies, outright, or stretching the truth, but a lot of times it's outright lies. And do they care? Yeah, in some way. But what's more important to them? The money, the platform, or lines, or the faith and the trust that the American people have, or whatever. So they obviously don't care more about telling the truth and protecting their citizens than they do getting that paycheck, being on TV, etc. Saw a video last night of AOC, Alexandria Cortez, or whatever the fuck her name is. It was at a town hall. It's like people were just outright yelling at her, like, we voted you in because said you were anti-establishment. Now you're worth $30 million after 3 years of $100,000 salary. You're worth $30 million net worth. How is that possible? The only way that's possible is if you're with the establishment if you're getting money funneled into your pockets to push certain platforms or causes or whatever, such as voting to send billions of dollars to Ukraine when you said you wouldn't, that was not your platform. There's no accountability anymore for these people. To me, we see this in society, right? The threat of violence is usually enough to keep people in check. But what happens when people in power have no threat of violence towards them? They do whatever they want because there's no consequences. If there is a consequence, there's a quote. It's like if the penalty for a crime is a fine, then it's basically doesn't mean anything, because for rich people you just spend the money. You see it in finance and pharmaceuticals. You see it everywhere. When people are making more money off their crimes than the penalty they have to pay. So I want to bring back dueling, because I think we have a bunch of cowards in office right now who are too afraid to say anything, do anything, because of their ego, of what they think is best for them and their families, but not what's best for the American people. So imagine if people just started challenging people to duels, right? If, I don't even really know. I don't know any politicians that are like straight up like that, really, but say, we'll say DeSantis, because he's like somebody who's pretty much really outspoken and doesn't go with the whole establishment. At least it appears so. What if he challenged Pelosi to a duel and they dueled? Or at least show up to prove you're not a coward. But you know what would happen? Pelosi would make a joke about it, laugh about it, etc., and say, oh, we were so far back, while she continues to break the law. While she continues to insider trade, while she continues to get her husband off of DUI charges. It's the little things like that, right? The little things. Making millions of dollars illegally. Lack of accountability for these people. I don't know what I started talking about, but it's a shame. I mean, this is the problem, right? That the liberals, you see, like during the riots, Democrats, liberals, whatever, they are the ones out there protesting for issues they believe in, etc. But who are these type of people? There are a lot of times just women and weak men will say, don't get triggered. Try not to get triggered. If you're getting triggered, it means something inside you's saying something, huh? And what about the Republicans, right? The idea is that they can't go protest and riot because they have jobs and they got to go to work in the morning, and that's kind of the joke. Again, if you get triggered, look inside yourself. I had a conversation with my uncle, I believe yesterday. He grew up in a little bit of a rough part of Philadelphia, half white, half black. It was pretty much separated by a street down the middle. There's a black side, there's a white side. And, there's commerce back and forth. And he said he would go go buy weed or go whatever to get some candy when he was a kid and little things like that. And it was fine. They're good relationships. But he said the moment they started having issues was when an institution intervened and started telling the white people, hey, it's dangerous to go over there, you shouldn't go over there, and told the black people the same thing. So then what happens with that propaganda, right? Because there was probably some minor crimes, but yeah, was it like a race related thing? Absolutely not. Everybody just wants the same thing. They just want to live long and prosper. I don't know why I thought live long and prosper, right? People don't want to have that hatred in their heart, but you're kind of pushed to that point. So it's understandable why it would get to that point, right? So once the police started saying the chitter chatter, chit chat to the different people, word gets around. You had a cop tells something to a kid, he says something to his parents, and the parents talk to their friends or whatever. They're like, oh, the police are saying that the white people are what X, Y, or Z, and oh, the police are saying black people are doing this or whatever, and then that rumor spreads, and then spreads pretty quickly, right? And then now you're starting to implant this idea into people's minds, the division, that we're not actually the same. There's like a distinction between us, and we should be look out for the other race or the other whatever, because they could harm us. And then what happened after that? Division occurred, and it got ugly, and then all the human characteristics come into play of fear and hate and violence and all like those type of things, right? The reason I bring that up because that's the easiest way to divide people, right? Based on visible things, gender, sex, I guess, race, ethnicity, religion, etc. Instead of things that truly cause the divide in society, which is a lot of the time power, which could be plenty of different things, but money is a form of power. Something like, what do I want to say? It's just classical signs of power, right? Money, or I guess it's the same thing, but influence, things like that. That's where the divide is between the haves and have-nots. And back to the police example, right? He said the common theme was the whites and the blacks didn't like the police. They were pretty much that's why they were on the same side. And I guess that's the point I'm trying to get to, is when you have two groups who are actually on the same side, but if you can cause that division within their ranks, it's to pit them against each other instead of the institution, instead of the establishment. That's what we're seeing today. We're seeing everything with everything I just said, with the race and all that stuff. But where's the actual divide? Who are the people actually taking advantage of other people and actually targeting other people, purposely targeting other people? It's these institutions, right? Again, on financial, pharmaceutical, government, police. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to say that, but yeah. The issues aren't with each other. If you're an average person watching this, your issue isn't with your fellow man, and you can clearly see that if you go out into public and speak to people. Pretty much everybody's the same in wants, needs, desires, all that, because we're more similar to each other than to these institutions. So as long as we're divided, the institutions win. The institutions continue to prosper. As long as we don't just check out, right? And you're seeing that a lot today with homeless problems across major cities, and not even, I don't live in a major city and we have homeless people here. more than ever before. I go to the gym. I'm at the gym by 5 usually, 5:30, and you see it. People walking around, people biking, people just sitting around. So when you have a significant amount of your population checking out like that, to me, that's the safest way that you could fight injustice, is by not playing the game. And yeah, it requires some sacrifice, right? But you have to be willing to sacrifice everything to get what you want. Figure out what you want. And if you're not willing to sacrifice everything for it, you must not really want it. I don't know why I'm going to say this again, but listen, if you're triggered by anything I said, you have to look inside yourself. Truly. If you let external circumstances and external pressures affect your life in that regard, that deeply, where you get triggered by something, it might be me, but it's probably you. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.